the reasons that Bitcoin will scale. So our base case is today $600 to $650,000, and our bull case, based on the scarcity that is now developing, we're at roughly 19.5 million Bitcoin out there. There will only be 21 million ever, and we do believe that. We think that institutions, if the SEC blesses a Bitcoin ETF, institutions will feel like the coast is clear for them to pursue. And we know a lot of institutions have been researching crypto assets for a while and do agree that it is a new asset class.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Cathie Wood discuss about Bitcoin and ETF approval. According to Cathie Wood, consequently, if we examine the explanations for why Bitcoin would grow, so the current base case is $600 to $650,000 as well as the basis for our bull case. The currently emerging scarcity, we are now at almost 19 of 5 million in Bitcoin. There will only be 21 million out there, ever. And we firmly feel that we such organizations, should the SEC approve institutions holding Bitcoin ETFs will, feel like it's clear sailing for them to pursue. We are aware that numerous institutions have been looking into digital assets for even while you acknowledge that it's a new asset class. Coinbase was the pioneer in a fresh asset class called CL, we wrote. We composed an essay in 200 Cathie Wood. Believe that 16 people rang the bell for a fresh category of assets, and the head of digital assets told me, you are aware that we called you today the signal for a fresh class of asset. Cathie Wood stated didn't connect the dots there, so organizations are aware when there is a new class of assets, is that right? There is the chance to expand and diversify returns with a relatively low risk per unit significant. And lots of things Cathie Wood discuss, so please watch the video to end and share, subscribe our channel Everyday Finance, thanks.
This is the first global, digital, private, rules-based monetary system in history. It's a very big idea. When we wrote the paper in collaboration with Art Laffer, you know Art Laffer, supply-side economics, Laffer curve, he said, I've been waiting for this since they closed the gold window in 1971. So he's been waiting 50 years for this, right? And he's so excited about everything crypto, but especially Bitcoin, because he believes, and it is true, monetary policy around the world is unhinged. It's not hinged to anything except human decision-making. And this is going to put discipline, rigor, back into
these particular products you're talking about.
Well, Bitcoin is, the monetary system is Bitcoin. And so, yes, why now for these? We've been working with 21 shares since I met Ophelia at an ETF confab in 2018. They had really just started their business, and I said, we want to move towards crypto. You are completely crypto. They were focused on the infrastructure, the regulations, really blazing a trail. They had to invent things in order to make this happen. And we knew that was not our core competency. But we did start talking. Our core competency is research on disruptive innovation. They do research. They do deep technical research on the market. Our research is on the disruptive innovation that it represents. And we've just been coming together for 5 years. It was a natural for us to come together. They are, or 21 Shares is the largest crypto ETP provider in the world, $1.5 billion. They have 35 different funds, most of them in Europe, in and around Europe. They were looking for a U.S. entree, and we were looking for infrastructure, and we're just delighted to be partnering with them, given how much groundwork they had to lay for this to happen.
According to Cathie Wood, the present initiative represents Bitcoin, a pioneering global digital private rules-based monetary system, marking a significant milestone in history. The conception of this system was a momentous undertaking, as evidenced by the collaborative effort between the authors and Art Laffer, a renowned proponent of supply-side economics. The concept of the Laffer curve refers to a graphical representation that illustrates the relationship between tax rates and tax revenue. The individual expressed their anticipation for a significant event that has been awaited for half a century, dating back to the closure of the gold window in 1971. Their enthusiasm primarily revolves around the realm of cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, so Cathie believes. And it holds true that global monetary policies lack a solid foundation and are solely reliant on human decision-making. The individual perceives the advent of cryptocurrencies as a means to reintroduce discipline and rigor into these specific financial instruments. The discussion revolves around the topic of Bitcoin as a monetary system and the reasons for the current interest in it. The speaker mentions their involvement with 21 shares since encountering Ophelia at an ETF Confab event in 2018. At that time, 21 shares was a nascent business primarily focused on the infrastructure and regulatory aspects of cryptocurrency. The speaker acknowledges that their own expertise did not lie in these areas.
So we had put in a number of times a filing, and we were just denied. Never got any questions, really never got any response. This time, this summer, we got questions back from the SEC. Now, normally when you get questions from the SEC, you're just saying, oh my goodness. We were thrilled to get questions back because it means they're engaged now. Now, we have met a number of the research people at the SEC on the research side, and they are extremely sophisticated. They know what they're talking about, and the level of sophistication of their questions suggested, okay, now they're moving deeply into this. And we answered those questions. We have not heard back. That's a good sign too. They never tell you that you've satisfied them, but if you don't hear from them, that usually means that you have satisfied the answers to the requests. So that was new, and we also know that BlackRock got questions. Mm-hmm. We put our answers in first. I think they have followed, and I'm not sure about anyone else. Mm-hmm. That was different, and it says, okay, there's movement, and we are the first in line, just because we kept refiling. Others gave up, and so, but we just kept refiling. We just kept, and we became first in line. So David against Goliath, right? And that's January 10th is the final deadline. Mm-hmm. They've been able to push it. It's very orchestrated. Push it, but the final, they either approve or deny on January 10th. And,
what do you think?
Well, again, I mentioned something has changed.
Right.
That's good. The odds have gone up. There is only one wrinkle. It just occurred to us in the last couple of days. They will approve a number at once. It won't be just one. That would be choosing a winner, given the way ETFs work. But we know Grayscale wants to convert to an ETF. I don't know how practical that is, or if the SEC will let them, or if they need a special dispensation. I just don't know the rules. Grayscale has said it will sue the SEC again if it denies the conversion. If they were to do that before January 10th, I don't know if that would throw everything up in the air again. I just
don't
know.
For the others as well.
For everyone.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
According to Cathie Wood, something changed around, so we had to add a few several filings, and we were simply turned down, never received any inquiries, truly never understood any feedback at this time. Indeed, this summer any queries from the SEC at this time typically. When inquiries come in from the SEC, you're merely saying, oh my God, we're thrilled to receive inquiries back since it indicates that they are now engaged. We've had several encounters with the research individuals working in research at the SEC, and they have very advanced technology. They are knowledgeable about the subject, and in the extent of their sophistication, inquiries made. Well, they're delving further into this. And we responded, those inquiries have not been answered. That's encouraging as well. They never know that let you know they're satisfied. But if you don't hear from them, that typically indicates that you have pleased with the responses to the petitions. So that was fresh, and well, we already know that BlackRock received inquiries, so we set our responses initially. So let's back to the interview.
I think, so if we look at the reasons that Bitcoin will scale, so our base case is today $600,000 to $650,000, and our bull case, based on the scarcity that is now developing, we're at roughly 19.5 million Bitcoin out there. There will only be 21 million ever, and we do believe that. We think that institutions, if the SEC blesses a Bitcoin ETF, institutions will feel like the coast is clear for them to pursue. And we know a lot of institutions have been researching crypto assets for a while and do agree that it is a new asset class. Bitcoin was the first in a new asset class. We wrote a paper in 2000, I think it was 16, ringing the bell for a new asset class. Mm-hmm. And our director of digital assets said to me, do you realize that happened today? We rang the bell for a new asset class. I said, oh, I didn't make that connection. Anyway, so institutions understand when there is a new asset class, it's there's an opportunity to diversify and increase returns per unit of risk. That's very important. They've also learned that Bitcoin in particular can be a hedge against both inflation and deflation.